Peace be upon you. Listen to the strange story that happened to me. A Sudanese young man named Abdullah in the year 2004. His age was 30 years old, married when he was 25. His marriage lasted 5 years, but the Lord of the worlds did not bless him with children, and the problem turned out to be from him. His wife asked him for a divorce, and he accepted it, saying that she couldn't live with him because of this defect and that she wanted children. He said, "May God make it easy for you," and divorced her. Abdullah is a religious man living in Khartoum, a highly respectable person with a moderate financial situation, not rich, and he is poor, but his life dream is going to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That matter that day is finished. It means no wife, no house, and the psyche is tired. He said, "I am now determined. I must go for Umrah." And indeed, he arranged his affairs and traveled. The day he arrived, there is Mecca. He is at ease, and he performs Umrah, content, a different atmosphere and a different life, as his mother gave birth to him. Glory be to God, God willing. His chest, and he always sits in the haram, the Meccan haram. He is content, meaning all his time in the haram. He goes to eat. Those who perform ablution, he changes. He returns again to pray and sit. The important thing is, one time, while he was sitting, a Saudi man, a man in his 50s, sat beside him. It wasn't prayer time, it just means that some people sit, meaning they contemplate and clear their minds and so on. The Saudi man, the Saudi people, the Sudanese young man Abdullah. "Hello, hello. From where are you, brother?" He said. "No, by God, I am from Sudan." He said, "Welcome to you. So you are a resident here in the kingdom?" He said, "No, by God, I have just come, it's my first time. And I came for Umrah, and you?" He said, "I am from the people of Jeddah, and I came for Umrah. And I have work in Mecca. Welcome, welcome, please join us." So he said, "No, by God, thank you. And may God give you health, and dinner and lunch." He said, "No, by God, never. May God reward you with good." There was talk between them, and they were sitting, and they took a gift from where in Sudan, and he began to explain to him. He will tell him, "And I am in Sudan. Thank God, my affairs are good and my work is herding camels and sheep, and I, thank God. We inherited the profession from our ancestors and so on, and I have long experience, but I have something. A simple means special to me." A Saudi, who is Abu Khaled, was happy. He said, "Good, how much does it mean? Maybe you, how much is your salary in Sudan? You know the currency difference is big, so let's calculate it." He said, "What do you think? Come work for me here in the kingdom." "Okay, I don't mind." Picture how many times they agreed on the salary issue, and God willing, you will return to Sudan and I will send you a visa. Of course, with conversations that took hours, and they went to drink something. From the drinks in the restaurants around them, they walked around, and there was, brother means, rest the right of Abdullah, and Abdullah also rested Abu Khaled from his stories and his talk, and so on. Your clarity important. Exchange numbers. I see you tomorrow, God willing, and indeed, they made an appointment the next day, and there was between them companionship and comings and goings and visits, coming. And Abdullah talks about his experience in the subject of grazing and how production is in the cattle or in the sheep and others and its types. And he knows how to manage matters and knows how to make hay, and he knows, that is, he says, "I have a skill. This hay, we don't come after, it makes for me a shisha nashab nafsi wa aqdir asawi li mi al-kukhwa nana atakalam min al-hajwa al-hara wa antum ma tadrun shinu al-hajwa ali bin danafi al-barhu wa shahi min ahl al-khartoum lakin shaglu wa halalu kullu fi al-bar yani fakala lahu bil shakswa nana wala." "I hope you work for me." He said, "Okay." We agreed. After 3 or 4 days, Abdullah finished his visit and returned to Sudan. Communication between us and Abu Khaled was by phone, and he actually took a picture of Abdullah's password or passport and worked for. He sent him a work visa, and Abdullah arranged his affairs, and after 3 months Abdullah entered the kingdom, and Abu Khalid took him to the land, the place where he put his livestock of camels. And, God willing, Abdullah is truly a professional in herding camels, and his method of production, and it means her affairs, and even the subject of her treatment, meaning sometimes camels get sick and so on, and this he has a treatment for everything, meaning from his experience, he took it from his father and grandmother and others, meaning the important thing in addition to that, he has the profession of sheep herding and production and sale, and the subject of the picture. And the use of it means all the things related to grazing in the halal, because it means in the middle of this land. He needs a place to sleep in. I make it for him. It means like a hut, a nest, a hut, and it was a beautiful hut. It means a luxurious handmade, and everyone is amazed by. He means whoever passes by Abu Khalid says, "Mashallah, what kind of man is this?" And he cleans and produces and makes you huts. What did he say? By God, without. I don't ask him once, twice, 3 times a year. Mashallah, God placed the blessing in Abdullah's hands and increased production. With Abu Khalid, matters became better and better, even to the point that his camels became healthy, and he knew how to choose, saying, "Oh Abu Khalid, buy this camel, do not buy this one, buy this stallion, this one is sound, this one is not sound." He had experience. Always showing them means profitable, and because you are also in the countryside, he cannot take salaries and hide them, fearing that someone might pass by and nothing would happen. And it means in absence because he takes the times he grazes in halal far from the place where he sleeps, so he cannot squander the money. And he sends the money to Sudan, to whom, does he have a wife or children or hide it here? He said, "Oh Abu Khalid, you are a man I trust frankly, and I have been comfortable with you for a long time. I wouldn't have come to the kingdom or worked for you. Oh Abu Khalid." He gathers them every now and then to reprimand them. He said, "Never mind, but Abu Khalid has a very, very bad characteristic. This is not a characteristic. This is a flaw." Abu Khalid was a stingy miser. He wouldn't let a rial out unless he knew where it was going, and he agreed to hide Abdullah's salaries and give. He is busy, meaning only what he eats and drinks daily, meaning only the things he needs. But the salary is with Abu Khalid. And Abdullah was happy and working and said, "Oh Abu Khalid, in addition to herding the sheep and so on, I want to buy some goats and some ewes. I have sheep and I want to raise them with me, meaning I benefit from them and produce from them, and I want those that are milked and I want those that I benefit from." And he said to her, "At your leisure," he said, "but I want. It is permissible a simple amount from one salary," meaning he said, "Yes please." And he started to buy and produce for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Father Khalid is believing what he is seeing. God willing, the lawful increases, the sheep, every time this one gives birth, and this one gives birth, and this one gives birth, and this one like that, and God willing, in health and he cares for them and so on. God willing, from the coming of matters, on the top. Everyone became envious of the father, and Khalid on Abdullah, although Abu Khalid is stingy, but he spends only on the necessary thing for him. The days went by, and the days came. 3 years, 4, 5. Finally, Abdullah said Finally I reached 5 years. I'm returning to Sudan. I want to rest. My affairs, my father, I want to get married. My father, to have a family. For 5 years I haven't seen my family. I go to my mother, father, and siblings. No one ever visited with the world. Now, thank God, I have good things from the Lord of the Worlds with these salaries, and I also have the anta. This is his sale. And indeed, he began to sell the sheep because they are cheaper halal things, and he collected the amount and said to Abu Khalid, "Oh Abu Khalid, keep this amount with you in addition to my salaries? And you see that I am coming in these 2 or 3 months. I want to travel and take a 3 months, 4 months, and I will return. He said, good, God willing, after 3 months, 4 months. Abdullah said, the truth, Abu Khalid said. You see, this is finished, determined. He said, no, O Abdullah, and I need you, and stay a little, these 2 months. He said, good news, O Abu Khalid. After I couldn't leave you, meaning you needed me, but during these 2 months I arranged someone for you. He said, good news, I'll arrange someone in your place. The important thing is, after 2 or 3 months, Abdullah is shy, a bashful, refined boy, so I don't want him to pressure Abu Khalid. He said maybe the man is effeminate. Men may have circumstances. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he doesn't trust anyone but me. 3 months? 4 months? And Abu Khalid came and said, listen, Abdullah, by God, I haven't found anyone better and safer than you. So I'm teaching you how to drive and getting you a driver's license. And I want you to be. I have a private driver, and I have someone who takes care of Abdullah, God willing. He thought about it and said, God willing, his idea is good, meaning I will develop myself and get a driver's license, and then, well, something good. He said, on the condition that you postpone the travel matter. He said, no problem, and told him, your salary will remain the same. And, I will add more later, he said. I rely on God. Why am I in a hurry? Let me sit and settle my affairs until it's finished. I reached a stage. Since I have a card, I will stay. And indeed, he became a driver, learned driving, and got his license, and became his private driver in his house. Abu Khalid brought him a second shepherd. That night, Abdullah rested a little and became a leader now. The car situation is more comfortable, meaning as work and salary. He sat for the first year, second year, third year. The total number of years Abdullah worked is 9 years of salaries. And also its profits from selling the films in which he worked for 3 years and produced them. The day came when he improves, there is no energy. He returns to see the world, who lived, who died, who is like this. Or in the beginning, the day he left Sudan, he found the opportunity that he distances himself from the atmosphere that happened after his divorce and after the problems that happened at his house, meaning a crisis, meaning the issue of not having children. This is making him a psychological crisis. But it's been 9 years now, and thank God he is fine, he is calculated, he is rich. Wasa said, Oh Abu Khalid, see, I am traveling and will stay there for 3 or 4 years. I will marry and build a house and settle my affairs, and I will return well, good, God willing. He said, I want you to prepare yourself. Give me your salaries for 9 years, worth so and so, in addition to the amount of money that I gave you, which is the security you have. Okay. After a week, Abu Khalid, no news. 2 weeks, a month, Abdullah, I tell you, a respectable music and polite and religious person, throughout his stay in the country, you don't know about. One of the Sudanese people present, you don't know them. He doesn't like socializing, conversations, late nights, outings and comings, and wasting time or anything that distracts him from his work. Only his prayers and his work, and that's it. He never makes a sound, even when he was a driver, always happy.